what is dispensationalism? Well, dispensationalism at its foundation is basically heresy, okay, first and foremost. But what is it? It's the teaching that was created in the 1800s by John Nelson Darby. And at its core, at its foundation, it's the teaching that God saved people differently throughout all ages, okay? So basically, you know, we obviously understand that the Bible teaches that salvation is by grace through faith. It's always been by grace through faith, right? It's always been by faith in Jesus Christ, just believing on him. Whereas the dispensationalists will say, well, no, that's only for our particular age. In times past, people were saved differently. They were not saved by faith alone. They had to do the animal sacrifices. They had to keep the Levitical law, you know, all these weird things that they believed you have to do. And then when, you know, the New Testament rolled in, you know, Jesus Christ preached salvation, but it was like repenting of your sin type salvation. And then the Apostle Paul came, and now the dispensation of the grace of God was given to him. And now salvation is by grace through faith. It's all about faith alone. We believe just like you guys. But once the church age ends, which we don't believe in the church age, but once it ends in the book of Revelation chapter number 4, then salvation for those who are left during the tribulation, salvation then will be by works as well, okay? So it's this crazy teaching that says salvation changes and it alters throughout ages based upon that particular timeline, that particular time period. But here's the thing is that the Bible doesn't teach that at all, okay? And it's so crazy to think that people would say that salvation has been different throughout the ages when we clearly have examples, both Old and New Testament, that show that salvation has always been by faith. And it's interesting because you have literally Abraham, who's before the Levitical law, that Romans 4 talks about, telling us that Abraham believed God and it was counted unto him for righteousness. And it specifically says in regard to that context, it says, but to him that worketh not, but believeth on him that justifieth the ungodly, his faith is counted for righteousness. And this is referring to Abraham. So it's telling us that even in Genesis, even prior to the Levitical law being instituted, people were saved by believing on the Lord, okay? What about after that? Well, then you have the Levitical law being instituted. And guess who's under the Levitical law? Well, someone by the name of David. And the Bible says, even David describeth the blessedness of the man to whom God imputeth righteousness without works.